Alright guys, hope you all had a great weekend and kept safe. I spent most of my weekend out with the wife, but when I did check Twitter, I noticed a discussion brewing around the PTS. Now when I say discussion, what I really mean is people were unhappy that a content creator has revealed what to expect from floor 100 of the Summit game mode within the thumbnail of their video. But to be honest guys, this isn't what I want to discuss today. This is just to give you some context. Actually, what does need to be talked about is the PTS, because this is ultimately the cause of many unhappy players, especially console players. Now, if you want to support me, the best way you can do that is watch all the way until the end. You can become a member if you like, you can like the video, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And with that said, let's get into this one. Now, I was planning on making a video about the PTS later in the week actually, but after seeing the discussions on Twitter, I felt I had to make one sooner, rather than later. And this has always been a touchy subject within the community, mainly because the PTS, it's always on PC only. I think there was maybe one time it was on console as well, and I think that was back in the Division, which means that, a big portion of the community, the console community that I'm part of, do not get to test the update, and instead have to watch PC players on streams. Now, Yannick specifically has addressed this numerous times before, and I can see why it's PC only. I understand the certification issues with Microsoft and Sony, and I accept this, but with this in mind, unfortunately, it does create this kind of early access type situation because the PTS allows you to have access to everything. Now, with this PTS, that means some people have been able to beat the level 100 on the Summit and then post about its contents, spoiling this for those people who do not want to know. It has created a bit of controversy, and this is why I wanted to take a step back and actually address the real problem here in this video, which has got nothing to do with what people are posting about. It's just about the PTS in general. Now let's take this back to September 5th when I joined a Twitter thread that included Yannick. Now this thread was about the PTS being spoiled or treated as early access and a proposition of this being under an NDA in the future, allowing the community to still directly get involved and test, but stop content creators from spoiling this to everyone else online. You think I'd be against that because I am a content creator, but actually I'm not. Now Yannick responded in the thread saying, I know it's frustrating for many that content gets spoiled on the PTS, but there's two reasons why an NDA would lower the value and efficiency of the PTS. Number one, we need PTS to be as close to the live game as possible for it to be relevant. Feedback is important, but you also get a lot of information through data, which requires as many players as possible, and just observing people playing via streams. Number two, enforcing an NDA takes a lot of time and effort. Efforts that would directly take focus away from gathering and processing feedback. Now, with this response in mind, I can kind of see where Yannick is coming from with his response to this, having an NDA, even though I disagree. But with that said, I totally think having a PTS is just plain bad. Now, for those of you who disagree with me, before you turn away from this or maybe dislike this video, hear me out, because I think this game has programmed you to want a PTS when in fact, I don't think you do. And just give me 5 minutes to explain my thought process here and kind of explain to you why having a PTS is a bad thing. So the question is, should we have a PTS at all? Would it be better without one or not? Now, I did put this to Yannick, who said they did this with Warlords of New York, not have one that is, and look how broken that update was. And he's absolutely correct. The Warlords DLC came with many issues that would likely have been fixed had there been a PTS. And I guarantee, if I were to put a poll out right now and ask this very question, the vast majority, I reckon 90%, would vote for a PTS rather than against. In fact, whilst I was writing this script, I did put out a poll on Twitter just to see what a small proportion of people would say. And as you can see, the majority have said yes. Why is that? Why would the vast majority of this community vote for a public test server that's going to spoil everything for the upcoming content? Why would you not want to log in when the content drops day one and be surprised? Now, maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's just me. I love that sort of thing, but I'm pretty sure that I speak for the majority here. I will tell you why you vote yes, but would rather going blind on an update, because it doesn't make sense, does it? It's kind of an oxymoron in that way. Players want to be surprised. I want to be surprised, and yet if that poll was to go out now, even I would say yes to having a PTS rather than not, because there's actually a deeper reason for that. And these questions, they just don't address the real problem. They're not asking the real question. So why then? Why would I vote yes, even though I'm completely against having a PTS? Well, it's pretty obvious. And it's got everything to do with this game specifically and the developers testing these updates. I mean, I don't know any other game that spoils all of its content 1 month in advance of that content being released. There's no other game that I've played that has these public test servers which spoil everything. And I'm completely against having a PTS in general, but for the Division 2, I'm for it. And that's where you've got to see the difference. Quite simply, I don't trust the devs to release an update that's not horribly broken, just like Warlords. I mean, even Yannick acknowledges this when he kind of refers back to not having a PTS for this DLC. The devs do not trust their own ability to test and balance and understand what the community wants on any of their content. So they have no choice but to spoil everything to ensure the update is correctly tested by the community and it's what the community wants. That's all it is. This has got nothing to do with having whether or not there should be a PTS, because I'm sure that if I put another poll out which said if the devs could guarantee a well-tested, bug-free, balanced update without the PTS, do you still want one? 99% of the community would say no. Because why would you? Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the majority, 99% of people would say no. Because I think 99% of people, they play other games where this doesn't happen and they jump in day one and they're like, wow, there's this new weapon I didn't even know about. Let's check all the stats. Oh, that's just dropped. That's new. Wow, I don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. And that's the excitement of a new update. This is about the developers and those who test these updates, in my opinion. Of course, in my opinion. And that's the reality, the way I see it. And I'd like to get your feedback in the comments below. Because maybe I'm kind of maybe I'm not thinking about something that you guys want to bring up. But in my opinion, that's what it's all about. Now, on the same vein of spoiling content, and going on a little bit of a tangent here, but coming back to the main kind of question, I'm personally always getting pulled both ways when it comes to this stuff. I do try my best to do right by you guys. You know, I was given access to a private server before the PTS, and I uploaded a couple of videos showing you a little bit of Skyscraper and some of the new weapons and gear. In fact, with Skyscraper, I only showed you up to level 20, and I purposely didn't play really that much higher than that because I didn't want to know myself, but I certainly didn't want to show you guys that stuff because I wanted you guys to experience it for yourself. Now, as a content creator of this game and with a duty to provide you guys with content, I always want to know exactly what's coming so I can give you guys the information. You know, I mainly look at news, and that's the newest stuff, right? Now, with that said, as a player and not a YouTuber, I don't want to know anything. And this part of me will always win, though. I will say that. I wouldn't be making a video criticizing the use of a PTS if it didn't, as it's in my best interest as a content creator to have a PTS. You know, it provides weeks and weeks of talking points and news. You know, I wouldn't be making this video if there wasn't a PTS. You know, this stuff wouldn't exist. It's great from a content creator's perspective, but as a player, I don't want it. And the same could be said for State of the Game, where the devs reveal all of the new stuff. I love covering it as a creator, but hate it as a player. You know, little tidbits of information is great, but revealing everything, even the level 100 summit reward, that to me really diminishes the value of actually playing through the new content. And the only reason the devs do this, I believe, is because of what I've said in this video. They simply do not know what the community wants, and they have no confidence in that, and they cannot balance the game well enough to release an update without a PTS. And it's actually funny when I look back on how many times I've done kind of like a silent cheer when I'm watching State of the Game and I hear a PTS is coming, because I know that whilst I hate the idea of a PTS, this game absolutely needs one with each and every update to ensure it's not completely broken on launch. I'm like really happy and sad at the same time. This game is an oxymoron. Before I end this video, I know that this stuff is not black and white, and I don't want this to be a negative video at all. I'm sure the devs don't want to reveal everything before it launches. I know for damn sure that Ubisoft doesn't. And you can see an example of that in the new Summit trailer, where they don't reveal what the level 100 has in store. And yet, you can go to Twitch or you can go to YouTube and find out exactly what that is right away. Some people have suggested that maybe they should have maybe not allowed us to test from 91 upwards, but you know, there's still everything else that, you know, that would only been maybe one thing that we didn't know about, but we still know about everything else. I know some people will say that having a PTS is great to give the devs feedback, but my response would be, well, why is there an ETF then? Why is there an ETF team? Why have players test the new content on a private server, not public, if you're going to then just do a PTS anyway? I mean, I know why for the second point, and that's because myself and other content creators, they can upload content about it and get the buzz. But the ETF, question mark, what's the point of having these groups of individuals if not to test content without the need for a PTS? Personally, if the devs and the ETF could do the job without the community, that's what I would want. But they can't. And that's why we, the community, become the testers, and that's why I'm making this video, and that's why all of this stuff has come up over Twitter, and that's why this will keep repeating itself every time there is a PTS within this game, because the devs just simply cannot put out an update without it being broken or it not living up to the community expectations, and that's why they put out a PTS. When TU12 is announced, I will be the first person happy and crying when they announce a PTS is coming to PC. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I know this is a little bit of a more negative one, but I do think it's something that we need to start talking about, because I think, at least in my opinion, I would love to be able to go into, Season 4, for example, not with Season 3 now, but I'd love to be able to go into Season 4 and title update 12 and not know anything, and just going there blind and just, test stuff out and find stuff out as I'm doing it, knowing in my head that this has already been tested competently by the devs or maybe an ETF group, and that there's not going to be a million bugs, and there's not going to be really overpowered weapons or stupid stuff. That's what I would love to have, but that we're not there. And I hope discussions like this can maybe get back to the devs, and maybe they can think about trying to get the game there, because I think if you get the game there, then that's going to create a lot of hype around each and every season and each and every update that just isn't there at the moment, because console players, PC players, we all know exactly what is coming 1 month before it's even launched. Thanks very much for watching. If you did stick around until the end, really appreciate it, and until the next one, Epic out.